Dobar večer svima. Ja ću evo odmah krenuti sa engleskim, vjerujem da svi razumijete. So good evening to all. I will just briefly introduce myself in just 1-2 sentences. My name is Maja Grubisic. I came from Croatia Romani Union Kali Sara. I work there as a coordinator in Romani Educational Cultural Center. And I'm really grateful to Buksa to call us, to invite us to participate in such a great project like this is, especially when it's about Romani literature. I'm very honored to have as a guest and have the opportunity to talk to Delia Grigore. Like, I'll read her short biography, but just at the beginning I have to say I read her poems and I'm really impressed. So it's my great pleasure. So Delia Grigore is a writer, scholar, university professor. She had PhD in visual arts in the field of ethnography and ethnology at Romanian Academy. She's a professor of Romani language and literature at the University of Bucharest. She's an author of numerous professional and scholarly works on Romani culture and tradition and their influence on contemporary Romani identity, as well as on Romani literature and language, including in-depth analysis of the concept of Romani pen. She's also the president of the Romani Center, Amare Romenza. So, at the beginning, I will start with Romani pen, because the concept of Romani pen, that's something that immediately came out when I was going through your work, your scholar work as a scientist and your as a writer. And a few years ago, it was the first time that I came across that concept of Romani pen. And in the meantime, I asked some writers, Romani writers and professors, what does it mean? And they explained it to me like that's a nucleus that Romani women and men always come back. It's the deepest part of identity of Roma people. But I'm really interested, because you're an expert in that field, to hear how do you explain Romani pen.
Thank you very much. I hope it's working. Thank you very much for inviting me here. It's my first time in Zagreb and my first time in Croatia. So it's very impressive that I'm invited to speak about literature, because I am a teacher of literature, Romani literature and culture, by profession being a philologist and an ethnologist. I'm one of the Romani writers and ethnologists, philologists that wrote about Romani pen and tried to define Romani pen. And not only me, but others also, but I'm with them together in defining this very old and impressive set of rules of thinking from history to literature to fighting racism, fighting against racism, to resilience in a tragic history, to modernize or to change the ethnotype, the archetype of being a Rom, but with consolidating and without losing what is very important. The concepts, the values, the views about humanity, about life, about death, about destiny, as we say, Bacht, that means destiny, and also luck, good luck. So, writing about this, I can try to synthesize in a few words I mean, in the center of Romani Pe is the concept of pachiv, with different styles of being pronounced in different Romani dialects, like pachiv, but it's the same, it's just phonetic difference. This means a lot. From honor, honesty, getting together, being a group with the same beliefs, believe in God. When someone is in a conflict, to get together and to solve the conflict through pachiv. Being a pachivalo Rom or a pachivali Romni, so a Rom or in the Roma woman or man, means to be a real Rom, means to follow these rules of honor, especially, to give respect to the elders, to the ancestors, and also to the children. As everybody, we love our children, but especially us, because we were tormented during our history so much. We even more preserve the relationship between children and elders in order to survive, in order to resist, as a sign of resilience, as I said before. There is also the concept of ujipe, purity, which used to be in the past the purity of the bride in marriage, the virginity. But now it is more than that. It includes this. For the conservatory and more traditional, let's say, communities, it is included. But of course now it's not something that is, how to say, forced on a girl. Now it's more educated, if possible, but it's not something that is, as it was, compulsory or mandatory. But it's still important. It's still important, and it's not only this. It's about how you behave in a way pachivales, how you respect the laws of pachiv, of honor and belief and sensitivity towards each other, solidarity, mutual help, and all this becomes the ujipe. I mean, you are clean, you are pure, but not from that point of view, the old one, but from the point of view that you respect everything that I said before. So you are ujo, you are pure from this point of view, not from the purity of race or something like that. No, don't think like that. No, it's about to be pure from the point of view of behaving well and respecting the pachiv. And if everything is well, you become a pral, a brother or a pen, a sister. Because us, Roma, when we meet, this pralipe, or feminine saying the penialipe, this means the brotherhood or a sisterhood is real. When we meet Roma from Colombia, and I'm not joking, from Brazil, from Europe, from New Zealand, from India, I don't know, from everywhere, the first thing, San Rom, are you Rom? Yes, Prala, brother, if he is a woman, if he is a man, or Pene, if she is a woman. It's just coming, Romani Pe, I mean, we are brothers and sisters everywhere, without knowing, without a blood relation, just this is us. Because the solidarity comes also from the fighting racism, and from being to support each other, to fight, to this resilience. This is pralipe and penialipe. And this is very important, this mutual help, solidarity and everything. And if everything is like that, we have all this culture that is contemporary culture. Romani literature is a part of the Romani Pe. Written literature, not only folklore. Romani art, symphonies, not only pop art or folklore or, I don't know, popular singing, no, not at all. It's about everything that is wrote written, sorry, everything that is written by a Rom, that he or she says is a Rom, and is literature on this music written by a Rom, and everything being classical music or pop or rock or whatever, theater, all the manifestations of the spirit, arts, science, if it is sociology or anthropology or whatever, everything is a part of the history, of course, researching history, part of the contemporary reformed new Romani pen. So it's not only the traditional concept that I spoke about, but this is also part. And from this point of view, I want to attract the attention that we are not a small literature. This is the title of this. I didn't agree, but I didn't want to, you know, to say before, but this is, no literature is small and other literature is big. No. All literatures in the postmodern view are equal, even if they write more or less, or, I mean, we are not at all a small literature. We are a literature, a part of the Romani Pe, and this is our Bacht. This is a Persian word, Bacht, and means, as I said, luck and destiny and fate. So our fate is our Romani Pe. There are a lot, you know, I'm a university teacher and I am speaking too much, but it was such an important point I wanted to underline. So everything we are, what we are today, yesterday, and tomorrow is Romani Pe.
Yes, but it's a complex concept, but in the bottom of it, it's really a strong society, strong connections between people. That can I tell for sure from my experience. Do you think it can be preserved, this very positive part of it, like you said, brotherhood and sisterhood, in this contemporary Roma identity? How difficult is it to preserve it?
It's not difficult, because it's for centuries and thousands of years. We came from the Indian part of the world through Persia and through Byzantium Empire and through Ottoman Empire and through all these empires until today. So it's 1,000 years of existence minimum, and we preserve. It's difficult because racism is against us, and is increasing, is diversifying, and I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why. Because on one side, people love our music, but they don't love us. I mean, just to have the Romani music without Roma, if possible, to many, unfortunately, not to all the society, but to some, let's say, I don't know. But many, because we have the statistics, you know, and there are movements against us. There are extreme right movements still everywhere, and politicians and talking about this gypsies, Tsigan, about this, which is absolutely a negative word, totally negative. All the words coming from this are negative and are pejorative, and we are wrong, only wrong, nothing else. Not Tsigan, not gypsy, not Gitanos is accepted because they lost the language and that's it, but and Gitan anyway. But not gens de voyage, not gypsy, not Tsigan, not Tsiganyok, not Tsingari, not all this, you know. So the name is very important to respect. It's difficult because of racism, but it's not difficult because we are resilient people. And we are Roma. And this is what we are. It's difficult because we have no country to standardize our culture and language,
yes,
and to impose it to a people
you just
organized.
came to the topic about language. You know, I often spoke with you mentioned also him in your interview, short Blitz interview, Rajko Đurić, and with Alija Krasniqi. I often talk to them and say it's a miracle that the Romani language is still preserved, because there are centuries of traveling and of the different languages that influence. And there is no system, like educational system, like institutions that will be supportive to it. And it's all the same. It's still living language. And I can witness that Roma people understand each other wherever they meet.
Yes, yes. We have a common language that survived in spite of all this tragic history and hate and racism and trying to extermination and
like
everything.
in Spain, like you said, Gitanos,
yes.
They Francisco Franco, they wouldn't be allowed to speak Romani.
Yes, yes, yes. But still, this language is a part of the Romani Empire, very important part. I forgot to say because it's absolutely, it's there. I mean,
it's not a density without language.
Yes, the language is the base of everything. And we survived. And different dialects, it's phonetic differences, influence of the contact languages, the pressure of the languages that is our national languages. But we have our language, it's a common language, and it's a system of writing from 1990 that now is improved and a little bit simplified. So we have a grammar, we have literature written in the Romani language, dictionaries, and now it's but it's no countries to support, you know, as a national language, you know, of the country, and this makes it difficult. But we still do what we do, and we write in our language, and we understand each other from all over the world.
Yes. So reading your poems, I could say that they are full of beautiful and poetic, and even the imaginary pictures. But in their core, there is a reflection of tragedy that Roma people went through the history and even today, as we know. So, what do you think, how much people out of the Roma community know about the tragedies? How do they have enough information? Do they know anything that happens to Roma people? It's not included in the educational system. It's in Romania, and is Croatia, all over Europe is the same situation, I think.
Actually, the first step to recognize a language, a culture, an identity for Roma, because we have no, let's say, country of our own, is to be recognized as a national minority. Because we speak about the rights of the national minorities in Europe, and only 14 states, among them Romania also, I think that Croatia also recognize the national minorities. So from the European Union, only 14. And they are not, it's not mandatory for the others to do. Not France, not Greece, not Italy, I mean, it's a problem to recognize. Second step, after recognition, you should put in practice the rights of the national minorities, to teach their language in schools, to teach their history, to make a museum, to open or establish a museum, at least one, to establish national centers for culture, to establish libraries, to have everything, I mean, theater in this language and everything. In Romania, Romania is a champion in adopting laws by the parliament, wonderful laws. Also a law about establishing a museum, a Roma History and Culture Museum, adopted in 2023. Now it's 2025, there is no museum. So law is there. Concept, we were gathered by the National Agency for Roma. We have a National Agency for Roma in the government that stays somewhere in some offices that are lent. I mean, they are just paid by the government, just a few offices, not a building. And there we were gathered, Roma and non-Roma, historians, ethnologists and others, to have a concept. And we wrote a book, 100 pages of book, the concept of the museum. All the halls, what exhibit, very detailed. Law is there, concept is there, and there is no museum. And this is just an example. Unfortunately, this is Romania. Very good law, strategy for Roma inclusion. Theater is there from 2001. In this strategy of the government of Romania, national strategy for Roma, there is the theater, Roma theater. No theater so far. So this is the problem. In many countries, but I'm giving my country because I know. Good laws, there is a national agency for Roma, small, marginalized in the government, with a few people there, no money, less money. National Center for Roma Culture, Romano Care, marginalized. Sounds great. There are these institutions are marginalized in the government, and with a small budget and a few people, they are doing their best. They are wonderful. And us, the NGO or Roma organizations, and of course the university where I'm teaching for 27 years now, and we have this program of studies of Romani language and literature, which is also, of course, it's a state program. It's a University of Bucharest, it's a state university, public university. But everything is at the level of symbolism mainly. I mean, less budget, small, few people, not so much, laws are not put into practice, and education is a huge problem, because in education you can take Romani language in Romania. It is taught in schools by the Romani teachers that we prepare at the university, but it's not mandatory, not even for the Roma children. And now there is an optional, let's say, curriculum about Romani history that is going to be addressed to all the pupils, not only Roma, but again, it's not mandatory. And the history, sorry to compare, but the history of the Holocaust and the Jews is mandatory. So it's a difference between us, between our powers. So it's a big problem. History of Roma is not known by the mainstream society. There is ignorance there. Media is not helping us at all, because media, only the public television is good, and the public radio, they are good language, not pejorative. They are trying to be, politically correct, and there is also a Romani broadcast, Opera Roma, in the television, Romanian public television, and so there are some. But the commercial televisions is huge racism, hate speech. Only the world of the interlopes of the mafia is shown there. I'm not sure. In the commercial televisions. Only in the public televisions we have abonnement, we go all the time, and it's good. It's good there, but it's just one, it's not the National Council for Combating Discrimination in Romania is quite weak. It takes a long time, and sometimes they only give advertisement and not the fine, because they give fines. There is a law against racism, anti-Roma racism, anti-Gypsyism, they say, is a law from 2021 that is almost not known by anybody, by the prosecutors, by the lawyers, by the Romas themselves do not know for this, because this is a good law, because it's the criminal law there. It's not giving fine. You can go to jail if you are racist. But nobody went to jail. I mean, it's again a good law, strong law, is copied after the anti-Semitism law. We copied. But we copied, but it's good. It's not a problem that it's copied, because it's the same idea. But it's not put into practice again. We have no jurisprudence. We have no examples to see in the media that, I don't know, public servant went to jail because he insulted and discriminated Roma. No. So so we have a lot to work in Romania to apply the laws first, and to educate the people about us, who we are. Media is there, school is there to education, institutions of culture. Yeah. So.
Yes. I also want to talk to you about the other concept, often present in literature, but also in everyday life. Like, for example, we are having a Congress of Youth Young Roma this weekend in Istria, and when we asked them, what do you want to talk about, they said, we would like to hear about how to manage those so-called living in between. Like when they start to educate, and when they start when they wanted to do something more for themselves, they are not very welcome anymore in the Roma community. They don't belong there to fit 100%, and they never fit enough. They are never good enough in the common mainstream society. Yes, and that's the concept that in between, lives in between, is often present also in literature. In many Roma writers write about it, talk about it, have the same problem.
it depends of the Roma community you belong to. We went in Romania through 60 years of socialism. I cannot call it communism. And it was a huge assimilation process. It was a policy of assimilation to disappear the Roma, to become Romanian. Because other communities, like other minorities, like Hungarian, German, they were recognized, not the Roma. So the Roma only after 1990, after the revolution and the change to democracy. So it was this process of assimilation, price to pay for education. Because many of us, in my age, I am 53, I was 17 in 1990 when it was this movement, this revolution. And my age, the person around 50 or even 40, but 50 more, my childhood and my even youth, the first youth, was in the communism, and it was about hiding identity. Not saying, it was forbidden actually to say, only at home. So we lived in a double identity, at home Rom and outside Romanian, because this was the only way to become something, to go to school, to integrate in the society as Romanian. This was our double identity, at home and outside. And this was very painful. But it was a price to pay, because many of us, we are coming from intellectual families. My mother was a teacher of Romanian language, and my father engineer. My mother is now in heavens. But for me, and not only for me, for my generation, they were very important. Education was very important. Not all of us were coming from traditional communities where education is seen as, to go to Gage, not Roma, and to become non-Roma. No, we were at home Roma and outside Romanian to go to school and to learn, to be good. So this was another dilemma, what to do after it was free to speak and to say you are Roma. We became maybe more Roma than our parents and more close to our grandparents. We went there and relearn how to be Rom, because our parents were in a process of assimilation, and they taught us to assimilate also. It's not important. We are not the gypsies. We are now Romanian. They assimilate us. It's good, they say, because it was the only way. And after 1990, some of us, coming from families that accepted and loved and liked education, we are now relearning to be Rom. On the other side, there is the traditional community, where, of course, it's a more closed community and more, how to say, conservative, with all this early marriage that still exists, I realize, and is not good. Of course, we are fighting this and all these things. Yes, we are in between, but what we want to build as a conclusion, a new Roma identity. New Roma identity does not mean that the Roma community with these old rules that are no longer good, actually. I said the rules that are good in the Romani pen, but early marriage and not going to school because the school belongs to Gage, no, let's make the school to belong to us too. Let's change the school, let's make it intercultural, multicultural, let's fight for this. This is my generation, what we did, beginning with 1994, I came into the movement as a student. So I was in somewhere to have the courage to affirm and go in the Roma movement. The Roma movement made me what I am. Roma movement made me what I am, because it is a solidarity of another type than in a community. Still solidarity. Sometimes I say we are another type of Roma Vița, the Roma activist. Another type of Roma group, the Roma activist, with our language, with our symbols, with our fight, with our flag. So the colleagues are here, they know the Roma writers, and so it's what we want to build as all the people they have. Traditions is there, traditional culture is there. It changes because it's normal. It's not from thousands of years the same But all of you non-Roma, you also have the traditional culture there in the villages, and it's good. You take what is interesting and important for today's life. And it's a modern culture that is not a dichotomy between the two. It's one from another, no? Inspiring one another. So that is why to the youth I will say there is no contradiction that you went to school. You can be wrong if you go to school, but it's a fight with the others to understand what wrong means, and it's not easy. You need a movement, you know, a youth movement or a movement to support you, because if you are alone, my dream is to see Romani women doctors, and I see there are a lot, doctors, lawyers, everything, physicians, everything, science people, science men and women. But my dream is to see this doctor with a traditional dress only once a year, not every day, don't worry, it's only me that I like this the everyday life. But 8th of April, International Romani Day. I'm a doctor in a hospital. Today I'm wearing the traditional dress and I'm giving some juice and some sweets to the colleagues. What is your birthday? Because your birthday was, I don't know when. No, it's not my birthday, it's the birthday of my people. It's the Romani International Day, that is why I'm giving you these sweets and this juice. And this is the traditional dress that we wear, is symbolic. So this is the way. Romani pen is a new, you can be aware, whatever you want in your profession, very good. And you still symbolically do this. This is just an example on how in the mainstream society you can be wrong, you can teach your children the language. If you don't know the language, you can relearn it, learn it, and learn about your history. The school should get support for this, because alone at home you cannot do it. Yeah.
So I would also like to hear your opinion about something that happened to me, I think at the beginning of this year or last year, I don't remember exactly, in Italy. We were visiting some Roma community. They're still living there behind the wire, like such camps. And I asked them, we were talking about Samudaripen, about genocide against Roma people, and they said our parents and grandparents don't talk about it. They want to tell us information about it. We tried, we asked them, but they don't want to talk about it. And that man, that was our host, said to me, just go ask them. And I said, do you know, do you live in that time, your grandparents lived in that time? What happened? What do you know as a witness of that time? And they just said to me, shh, don't mention it. We won't even speak about it. So I was very surprised and shocked, and you know, it was a very sad moment.
People are still afraid, and this is very sad for the 21st century. People are still afraid not to raise this issue because it might come back. In the 90s, after the revolution in Romania, interethnic conflict and abuse of the police and forced evacuations and forced displacement came in the Roma communities suddenly after the change of the regime. And in 2020, 2021, with the pandemic, huge abuses against Roma, beating of the police, by the police in the Roma communities, because under the pretext that the Roma do not follow the rules, the new rules of the pandemic, you know, interdictions and everything. This was absolutely false. And many Roma neglected, among them my mother, died in the hospital, neglected. Because anyway they were neglected in the hospital. But now, because of this pretext of the pandemic, they were the last one to be treated. The last one. And left there to die. And the abuses of the police, you can't imagine what was there. I mean, it was a litigation of many cases by the Roma NGOs in those times. I'm speaking about Romania, but I think that in other countries were the same. Because on one side, being not treated as they should, as any citizen in the hospitals, and on the other side all these abuses, hate speech. It was huge. Some very important Roma, among them Rajko Đurić, Marcel Curtiada and others, died in this pandemic. And some very important Roma musicians also in Romania, very important, Gabi Luncă, Cornelia Catanga, excellent, Nelu Ploieșteanu, I cannot, a lot of. And you know what the papers, the newspapers and television said? Of course they died. They do not respect the rules. They do not respect the interdiction. They are singing in the weddings. It was absolutely false because there were no weddings. And they were not singing at all. I mean, this was absolutely, because they were treated as they were treated in the hospital, that is why they died, not because they were against the rules. And this was a huge hate speech. You cannot imagine. I don't know how many petitions as organization against some televisions, important, Romania TV, reality TV, Antenna 1, real televisions and with a high rating, were speaking about Roma like they were the enemies and the ones that bring and spread the COVID. They were the enemies. And more than that, they were coming back to Romania from immigration and they said, ah, look, these thieves and robbers and these spreaders of the COVID are coming to Romania to infect us, to steal us. I mean, you cannot imagine what kind of hate was in all the discourses and huge televisions and everywhere you were afraid to go on the street, but we were not going in the street so much. So because of this racism coming back from time to time in crisis periods, in economic or sanitary crisis, because of this people are afraid, are still afraid to speak about this. And on the other side they want to keep their hope and not to speak about the dead, about the tragedies, because to be resilient in this way, I mean, okay, let's look in the future, because in the past it was so difficult, so tragic, so dramatic. So that is why people are trying not to forget. They are never forget. It's not about forgetting things. It's about not spreading what they have in their souls, being afraid, afraid also about naming something bad not to come back. And the elders, they are right, because you see, from time to time this is coming back. In a way or another, the genocide is here for us all the time. We should be vigilant, because we don't know what will happen. Because we don't know another pandemic or another something that we will be again seen as the responsible ones. That there's a scapegoat without any, we're innocent, we did not do this. And they say we do. And
so I said that I'm not good with time, but they said that we have time to read your poems. We can talk like this, like for many evenings, but let us hear some of your great poems.
Droma. Me ponența prahovea andicu, ajucherau le caștate pravon, gicoilo le veșesco. Darau tejau pe droma, te napagau o iaca pe soventele, mașcara mare divesa hasaile. Eromia veșen pașodrom, aeroen, e ciungrianța putate. Darau tejau pe droma, te nașunen man olmule ca ia cile opre, mașcar amale țah revistarul. Eroma, naken, odrom, iec, dui, trin, put, biratesche diență, nevastența prahomea îndopali, ajucherau temereu oliva. Oltrin la vai romnian ghegila vinidor, tampipe. Gilab juvlia ai căl, socialol mante șunautut, ai tedicautut, mai but tedicautut, me tedicautut. Oculai, orai, orașai. Aci mosa juvliai beștele, nasom mecate, mai conic. Dud, e che la ce găseste, o ciunut lia pe ipuv saronu. Ai biandile lenghe dui ceavore, o cam ai un sunnacai, te dem dud. Ai biandili lenghe iecciai, te ghilavertu, bimelipe. O te tu mende, sarsi peniale. I cliomo de vel, pavalindoi momelia, saric puro acilo corpul. Sar de avel ceavalete, șucar, ujo, ai sastu. Ame seate garas, ai garavas amentu menda. Ai amare gilia, si veste, ai gilaven pen corcore, pobut șucar acana, de sar a tosca. The last one. Ame, ai amare gilia. Bașaven pralale, gilaven peniale. Amare gilia n-aven tarovac, tarovușt, tarocor, tarochi, nici. N-aho aven tu menciavale. Amare gilia aven taripu, tarobar, tariag, taromeripe, tarojivripe, ai palem taromeripe, ai palem tarojivripe. Amare gilia n-ai amare. Olgaje kamenlen, olgaje mangenlen, olgaje rodenlen, olgaje janenlen, tanaha kelen. Bașaven, cadia buchiori tu mejanen la pomișto. Gilaven, cadia buchiori tu mejanen la pomișto. Devla, aver tu chete n-a mai bașavez nivar. Devla, aver manghete n-a mai gilavau nivar. Amare, romane giliasi amare. Ocam, asal, ciunut. O ciunut, provel, cam. Ame sam Roma. Ame, ai amare gilia.
So I think we are at the end. Thank you very much for this inspiring poetry and this conversation. Just to say that the translation of these poems were by Benita Saviu, translator from Romani, from Macedonian.
I thank you very much, and in the end I want to say Nai saraftu menge, panikeraftu menge, this is thank you in Romani, and Gaven Bachtale, Zorale, Aisaste Veste, and for you to be happy, lucky, and powerful, and also to be healthy, because this is very important.